Question for Davante. There was a recent article that came out, and just trying to clarify what you meant by, there were some disagreements, and it seems like some people ran with that a little bit, and just want to give you a chance to maybe set the record straight on what you meant by that.
Well, I mean, it's not really setting the record straight. I mean, I think a lot of things get taken out of context when you don't have an interview to look at or people don't know the full story. So, at the end of the day, I mean, there's going to be opinions, and there's going to be, you're not always going to see things the exact same way. But when you've earned a right to have an opinion, or you see things a certain way, or even going into the operation this offseason, obviously. I made poke fun at having Aaron here a lot, and why would I not talk about having, best quarterback to play the game and a guy who I have a lot of history with. So that's who I had on my mind initially. So, that was never a slight at Jimmy. I didn't even know we were, pursuing Jimmy. So it had nothing to do with any of that. And then obviously I put something on social media saying, don't hit me up. Don't stop hitting me up if I haven't talked to you recently. Don't hit me up about this stuff. And I already said what that was about. That was clearing up the whole. Me just getting bombarded with messages like, "Oh, what's going on? How you feel about this and this and that?" So, I mean, that could have been anybody. But at the end of the day, like I said a couple times now, I'm excited to get to work with the new guys. And Jimmy's a great guy, love him to death. I didn't know him very well before he got here, but getting to work together a little bit, be around each other, getting to know him. He's a great guy, and definitely excited to get to work with him and everybody else that's in here. As far as the front office, I mean, I haven't had a relationship in the past. This is 10 years for me in this game, and I haven't had a relationship like what I have with those guys. So everything's get taken out of context. I wouldn't be here. I mean, I told you guys right after the Derek thing, I was here to stay and I wasn't going anywhere. So you can grab something and run with it if you want, just to get clicks, and that's what people often do with me and things that I say, whether I misspeak or if I speak up. But at the end of the day, I'm a Raider, and I'm excited to be here. I love my head coach, and I love the general manager here and everybody. I mean, from the top to the bottom. So I have no reason to lie. I mean, one thing I don't do is BS, so I'm not gonna make anything up when it comes to that. I'd rather keep my mouth closed if I have negative things to say. But when I say that these are some good men in this place that I really value the relationship that I have with them, I mean that. So, that's about all that needs to be said for that.
Yeah, it does feel, listening to you talk, that you're given a voice, and it's not just to hear you talk, but it's actually to listen to what you have to say, that they respect it. Do you get that sense that there's
correct? I mean, I've never been encouraged to speak up and share my feelings with the organization the way I have with these two guys. I mean, and I felt that from the first time that I got the call from them right after getting traded, that's the type of environment I was going to be coming into, just based off of what they heard about me, the respect they have for the things I've done on the field, and I try to give them that respect back. And obviously sometimes things get said and taken out of context, like I said, and it's never my intention to bring any type of negative attention or throw off the focus of the team or whatever, which did not happen, by the way. We got a lot of guys in here that know me well by this point and know my intentions. No, I just want to win. I'm here to try to win a Super Bowl like everybody else is on their team. So that's really my only focus. I'm not really. The thing is with me, and I'm unapologetically me. At the end of the day, I truly do not care what people have to say. So when I'm clearing things up and talking about this stuff, a lot of times it's me protecting other people that were involved. Like, I don't ever want Jimmy to feel a way, think that I didn't want him here, or I don't like him, or I don't want Josh to feel like, I post a picture with Ziggs, and then they're like, "Oh, is it Josh that that must be the real problem." So y'all can do that if you're that bored. Like, go play Monopoly or some shit, because.
For those of us that know you, though, when it came out, we thought it was not much, just because of what you said publicly, probably everything else.
Thank you.
Is that the most difficult part of being a superstar, that people parse every word, every?
I'd say for the average person, yes. For me, like I said, if nobody came to me and was like, these are the issues that are going on in the world. First of all, I don't pay attention. I live under a rock half the time. I find out stuff usually last. I told you I found out I was traded on Twitter. So I don't usually know what's going on with that, nor do I care. And I don't mean this in a malicious way at all, but I've become who I've become by not caring. Like I was in the dumps. I talked to you guys when I first got here. I was in one of the worst parts of my life when I was in the NFL, as far as mental headspace and confidence wise and everything. And when I learned to stop caring about what other people think, like now, if I drop a ball in the game, it's just something that happened. It's not like, oh my God, there's 80,000 people in here. It's on TV. All these things. I don't really have the other factors that, those don't contribute to my mindset in a negative way. So when I hear about it, I'm like, it is what it is. So it's definitely difficult for, the average person in this position. But for me, I keep it rolling. I'm going to keep it pushing the same way as if it never happened. And the damage control usually comes in to try to make sure people understand. And I don't want guys walking around feeling uncomfortable in the building or otherwise. And it usually only comes where I do decide to, come forth and speak up to, when I actually care about that person enough. And clearly I care about the people in this building to do that.
Davante, right now Jimmy G isn't practicing. What are some other ways that you can work on building a rapport with one another?
Tape, talk, all that stuff. Learning each other. I think Aaron and I's relationship, or the connection on the field, went to another level when our relationship off the field went to another level. So, just chopping it up with him. I've got to know him pretty well. I mean, obviously, it's only been about 6 weeks or so since we've been doing it, but I know a decent amount about him now, and I feel like that'll help us on the field. Just knowing him and knowing the way he thinks. Some of the things he said to me about, what he's seen from me on tape and what he's seen from me at practice, that type of stuff helps too.
Davante, obviously you've established yourself as a leader of the team, but another guy that was kind of next to you throughout practice that was talking a lot leading was Jacoby Myers. What has been your relationship like with him since he's been here? What was your idea of who he was as a receiver before he got here?
That's a great question. I told Cole, I said, man, I learned more about him. And part of it was my ignorance. Like I said, I live under a rock a lot of times, so I didn't really see, in New England, I didn't see him featured as much as maybe he should have been based off of what I saw, when they came here and we practiced against him. And so far, what I've seen from him now, I mean, he's a pro. He's got a lot of tools on the field, and the way he thinks about the game to be a relatively young player is impressive to me. So I'm excited to work alongside him too.
Going back a second, when you talked about stopping, you don't care anymore. You didn't think you might think about a drop early in your career. You don't think about that now. You kind of let that go. Do you think success allowed you to not think about those things, or do you think you had success because you stopped thinking about those things?
Another good question. I think that it's a little bit of both. The real confidence, like every receiver is going to tell you, I think I'm the best, or I want to be the best. That's the right mindset to have, right? But once you have a little bit behind it, whether it's the resume or you've made plays in practice or just your work ethic, you've changed something in the way you operate on a daily basis. The things that you actually do contribute to the mindset and the true confidence, because we can all say whatever. You can say I'm the best writer in the world, but if everything you write is lackluster, then that's not, you're just saying it at that point. Nobody else is going to really respect it. So I just put the work in, and like I said, I started to forget some of the other things and just put it out of my mind, change my mindset a little bit, and once I had enough behind it, it just kind of, I guess, it intensified that confidence and that kind of, I don't really care factor, and here we are.
You mentioned about respect means a lot to you. You live under a rock, but respect. Last year at the end of the season, Sam Webb talked about almost pinching himself that he gets to compete against you, the best. What is it about him? He's competing for a roster spot. What is it about Sam Webb? Because he talks about you coaching him, so obviously you've taken interest.
Yeah.
Could you talk about what it is about him that you like about his game, please?
Well, just that part that you said right there. Another player that I played with in the past that turned out to be, I mean, he's probably the best in the league right now, Jair Alexander. Same type of thing where came in, and I never seen a guy. I mean, usually I beat a guy on one-on-ones, and they kind of just chalk it up like I'm a rookie. That's Davante. Like, it is what it is. I'm not gonna get kicked off the team for him beating me. And Ja was in the locker room right after the first training camp practice, and he had his iPad out before anybody came in there, like literally, like looking at the plays, trying to figure out like what it was. And he comes up to me and asks, like, I don't want to bother you, but like what happened here? Like, what made you? How'd you know I was gonna react this way or whatever? So Sam kind of has that edge, and I'm not comparing him to Ja as far as, Ja's obviously in a different place in his career right now, but the intentionality and the care to want to get better like that and to learn and to for it to mean as much as what it does to him, that says a lot about him as a player. So that's why, when you have an open book like that, it's easy to kind of put him under your wing and, teach him. And the more we do, the more he wants to learn, the more he comes and talks to me about it. And then I see the growth, and then, we'll talk about something. I might shoot myself in the foot, tell him something, and then he'll actually play it really well based off of that. But that's what we want. That's what I want to see as a leader and as a vet on the team. I want to see the young guys taking information, not just coming up and talking just to be like, oh, I talked to Davante about whatever, just to put on a show. So I respect that about him, that it means a lot to him to be able to ask those type of questions, which is why I kind of naturally gravitated toward him.
Devontae, I know that you guys are still at kind of ground zero right now, like all 31 other teams. I just felt watching out there that maybe you guys were a little bit ahead of the curve compared to this time last year.
Yeah.
I know there are some new faces, new quarterback, but do you feel like there's a more progressive starting point this year compared to last year?
For sure, definitely. I mean, we're in a different spot right now. Just having a year under our belt now with this system and with this coaching staff, I think part of it, to give the coaches a little bit of credit too, is they're in a different place, and obviously understand that we get it a little bit more now. So it's not really as much, guys running around with their hair on fire. It's a little bit more of a toned down. Not that they're not getting after us, because they should as coaches still, but there's a little bit of a, these guys understand it and they've made progress, so we can kind of chill out a little bit too. So I mentioned that to EB yesterday. I said I can feel that from the coaches, and I think that the players respond well to stuff like that. And obviously, if we're not improving and we don't look better, I'm not expecting for them to be that way. So obviously, that's a little bit of both sides working and kind of meeting in the middle.
We'll go Ryan, then Willie.
To piggyback on that earlier question, being in year 2 under Coach McDaniel's system, how much does that benefit you in terms of learning the nuances of the system?
I mean, I'm just in a whole different spot coming in now. It's like, last year it's almost like taking the same course twice. You take algebra once, which I've never done. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that. But, taking the same course, you go in, you take algebra the first time, you never heard of algebra, you never dealt with it before, and, you've taken calculus before, trigonometry, and then this is you got to unlearn everything about trig and then go to this now. So that was part of the kind of adjustment for me, was unlearning some of the things that I knew before that, is obviously going to be a little bit of a bastard in this offense. And, once you can let go of some of those things, you can now play a lot faster, just be flowing. It's not as much, just stressful nights trying to study to memorize what I'm doing here and doing there. And also the coaches simplified some stuff for us and made it a little easier coming back too. So, like I said, it's kind of we fed off each other there to make it a little bit easier.
Davante, you talked about your mindset, right? 8 years in Green Bay and where the sort of low light hit for you, and then you come here and there's a comfortability. I listened to your interview with Brandon Marshall, watched it, and you talked about some specific things from last year. You mentioned the KC incident. Mm-hmm. What were some of the low lights that you found a roller coaster mentally last year that you were able to grow from, and that's made you mentally stronger to come into this season to become more of a leader in the locker room and for yourself just be mentally healthy?
There was nothing really. I mean, I wouldn't look at the KC incident as something that, obviously, to say I learned from it. I don't want to say I didn't learn from it, because that makes it sound like I'm not remorseful and stuff like that. But it was just an instance. It's not something that I needed to happen for me to know that was not the right thing to do. So it was just something that happened. So at the end of the day, it was more so learning from some of the stuff that happened on the field and learning patience, dealing with a new coaches, new system, and coming in being used to having 13 wins for my last 3 years in Green Bay. And another thing I talk to people about is understanding how the importance of, this is a little bit off topic, but just the quality of life too. Like just coming here and knowing, because in Green Bay, I kind of mentioned it, I believe I mentioned it with B. Marsh, but Green Bay, we won a lot of games, but it still was a certain level of, I don't know if it's because we took it for granted or whatever, but now I have a better understanding for how good it feels to win. So going through some of the trials last year and losing some of the games, or a lot of the games that we should or could have won, the patience and those kind of go hand in hand. And I learned that it's definitely not as easy as maybe we made it look before. So working with new guys and coming in with even more new guys this year, just learned basically, I think patience is the biggest word at the end of the day.
Davante, this is, for all intents and purposes, this is only going to be like your third different quarterback since high school. How daunting, inspiring, refreshing is that learning curve going to be? And also, you didn't have to take college algebra at Fresno State?
I'm not going to answer the last part. What was the first question again? Sorry, you threw me off.
Who was your high school quarterback before Derek? You got with Derek and
Well, I had Christoph Bono. That was Steve. You guys, a couple older guys in here. I know Steve Bono. His son was my quarterback. Then obviously I had Derek. Then who did I have in Green? Aaron in Green Bay. Also had shout out to Brett Hundley out there too. So I had Brett. I had a couple of them. But yeah, it's definitely been. I've been blessed, man, with some very confident and capable throwers of the ball. So I can attribute a lot of my success to because learning from those guys, honestly, because Christoph had a lot more reps than me. I guess at that point I wouldn't say experience because I knew football, but he had a lot more reps than me. So I did learn some stuff from him and his dad at that point. Coming in, obviously, I learned a lot from Derek at Fresno, and then learned how to be a pro and how to do things the right way in Green Bay and how to practice and how to lead and all that stuff from Aaron. So I've been blessed, man, having some of the guys that I've had to throw me the ball for sure.
All right, thanks everyone.
Cool.
Thanks for making it.
The best part about it is, when you're in the league for a few years, there's always carryover. There's always things that, maybe run in the past. But, I'm really excited about where we are. I feel like the defense fits my skill set really well. So, I'm just happy to be here and trying to just continue to progress and get better every day.
What makes you believe that you can actually thrive in defensive Coach Graham's system? Sometimes it can be a little bit complex on the back end there. You'll probably be the quarterback of the secondary. So can you just talk about that aspect of it and what you bring to the table?
Yeah, I always believe in my abilities and my skill set. I feel like I can fit into any system, from a skill set standpoint. And then, from a complex standpoint, it's just about making sure off the field you're putting the work in, putting the film study in, getting in the playbook and making sure that you're prepared each day.
From the outside, the expectations where you were before are not the same necessarily as they are here. A lot of people don't necessarily expect as much of this team. I guess how do you kind of envision that, and is that something you embrace of just people not expecting necessarily a Super Bowl team here?
Honestly, I don't really worry about expectations outside the building. I worry about the expectations inside the building. And, right now it's only May, so, I feel like the expectation right now is to just continue to work each and every day and, pick something to get better at each day.
Marcus, when we first got signed, obviously it was pretty early in the offseason, so the makeup of the secondary wasn't as set as it is now. Now that the group's sort of together, you know who it's going to be for the most part. What kind of potential do you think the secondary could have to be successful this season?
I feel pretty good about it. The best thing so far that I've seen is, we're young, but it's a group of hungry guys that are putting the work in each day, getting extra work in. So, I feel pretty good about everybody's skill set that we have in there. So the biggest thing is just continue to learn each other, continue to learn how each other plays out there on the field so that, like I said, we can make sure that we're communicating well, filling each other out, and always on the same page back there.
How much did reaching the level you reached last year, and falling just short of it, how much does that drive kind of motivation wise to get back there and to try to, change the result and kind of get over that?
Yeah, definitely. It still stings. But, I think, in this league, no matter your success or failures, you got to bring that same energy to work every day. If you want to succeed, especially in this league, it's very competitive. And, no matter if you won or lost, you got to make sure you're bringing that same fire each day to continue to get better and to win.
Thank you.
Texas kid in there, Tyree Wilson.
Yep.
And him talking to us, he's talking about how he wants to kind of saddle up with you and learn everything. at this level, to be where you are in your career and to be kind of respected that way by somebody like Tyree, how does that make you feel?
It's a great feeling. I have, my dad will send me clips, of guys talking, in the combine and stuff like that. That's really what it's all about. I've always dreamed to be in the position I am right now. I'm not even close to where I want to be, but I know I'm going in the right direction. So, having a guy like Tyree in the building, and just being able to, help him any way he can, that's something I didn't have when I was a rookie. You know what I mean? We didn't have a lot of vets or anything like that. Especially in D-line when we had a different group. But I've always wanted to, have a guy like Von Miller. When I was a rookie, I reached out to Von, I reached out to all the top guys and try to pick their brains. And so, especially as a rookie, that's what I want to be, a great veteran for, all the young guys, and just have them, come to me if they need anything.
Knowing you to be the football head that you are, I'm sure you've watched film of Tyree. What are your? I know he's not out there, but what are your thoughts on what you saw of him in college?
I haven't watched a ton. I've seen a bunch of highlights and things like that, but just from his physical gifts alone, he can be a great player. It's just about the work you put in once you get in the league. You can have tools, you can have every bit of talent. That's the NFL. Everybody's talented, but it's what you do when you get in the building. And he's had a great attitude so far. He seems like a great kid, so I'm gonna be there for him. I know Chandler will as well, and all the other veterans. So we're here to help not only Tyree, but Byron and all the new guys we brought in as well.
Max, you got 2 rookie defensive tackles, 2 sophomores, and then of course Tyree. A lot of youth on your line. As the leader of this defense, is there certain things you do to lead them? Do you do film sessions? Do you spend time with them? How does that work for you?
I think a big part of what we're doing right now is just becoming closer as a unit. Especially D-line wise. We're meeting together. We're doing everything together. We're going out and having dinners together. A couple guys went to Power Slap last night together. But just getting out of the building and spending more time and building those relationships, because that's the stuff that people don't really notice. On the field, like you watch the Chiefs, everyone knows Kelsey and Mahomes are on the same page. You watch the Bills, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. There's a reason, they're on the same page, because they're doing, more than just playing football together. They're doing things off the field together as well. So that's kind of been my main focus, as a leader, taking that next step and just trying to bring the guys together, not only with the D-line, but as a defense as a whole, and, just as a team as a whole, holding everybody to that standard.
Does that slap face a potential career post-football for you?
Hell no. No chance. No chance, but I will keep watching it. It's entertaining.
Actually, you talk about being a mentor now, right? And you think about where you were your second season and coming through recovery and having a breakout season and emerging as a star. Do you sort of embrace the added pressure of now being a leader, being a mentor, and maybe how has becoming a parent helped that? How's that all come full circle going into OTAs?
I love it in every single way. At the end of the day, I do this year round. I put in everything into my craft, not only on the field but off the field. And I want to be the best person I could possibly be, the best leader I could be, the best athlete, the best football player I could possibly be. And that comes with more pressure. The more success you get, that's just inevitable. So for me, I've always wanted to be in this position. Even though it is hard, you're going to get more critics, you're going to get more attention, but that's a good thing at the end of the day. If nobody's talking about you, nobody expects big things from you, you're probably doing something wrong. But I do everything I can to put myself in the best position to help this team be the best leader I can be and be the best player down to down in the National Football League. So that's my goal every day, is be the best. And I try to, show my teammates what that looks like every single day. So, even when the rookies came in, I told them, follow me every single day. If you want to continue building your career, follow me. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to do it every single day. And that's what's really about, just putting your head down and, all the extra shit, like, that's just a part of the game. It's going to come with it. People are going to either like you or they don't. They're going to say this, say that. But at the end of the day, if you're putting in the body of work every single day, over time, people are all going to recognize that. So that's just what I stick to.
First time in a couple of years, same defensive system that you're coming into in OTAs.
Yep.
You feel that a little bit, that there's a better foundation here, of the knowledge of this defense?
Definitely. Last OTAs,
it was a lot. Obviously Pat was new. He's installing a bunch of new stuff, trying to get everything in before we get to camp. And so everything was just like you're just learning and trying to just figure everything out on the fly. But now, having another year, being able to help the guys that just got in is going to help them as well. So, things are going a lot smoother. We're focusing on skill development right now, focusing on getting better as football players, because at the end of the day, you call whatever you want, but if you're not a good football player, it doesn't matter. So guys are really locked in right now. We're working and working on our crafts, and it's been great to see. Everyone's dialed in. We have dudes with great attitude and with a lot of talent, and are showing up every day. So it's been encouraging to see.
So as a collective unit, how do you think the defensive front needs to improve from last year?
I feel like I've talked about it many times. With Josh, to Dave, to everybody, like. I'm coming like the year before. I felt like that was my best year, as far as like a culture and an environment. As far as the D line came, when we had Quentin Jefferson, those guys, like we were all on the same page every single down. Like I didn't even have to say anything to Q, and he knew what we were doing. And I feel like it took a step back last year, just as far as being a group. And that's it's not easy. You get a bunch of new guys. It's not easy. It doesn't just happen overnight. And that's when I've been just encouraging everybody. It's like, listen, we got to do everything together. And it's like I talked about, like, it's not only just showing up to practice, working out together. We got to go out and do things together. We got to learn. I want to know what Matt Butler's kid's doing and, like, what he's up to. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have those relationships, because that's the shit on TV that you see that you can't even – that, the normal regular fan doesn't understand. Like, if you're on the same page, everything is just flowing, and – that's the real connection that takes guys from being a good group to a great group, and I feel like that's what we're doing right now. We obviously have a lot of work to do, but it's been super encouraging, especially the inside guys, like seeing Jerry Tillery, the work he's putting in right now, Matt Butler, Neil Farrell, like all these guys are working like crazy right now, and they're super hungry, and it's been awesome to see. But it's May right now, we got a lot of work to do still, and I feel like we're going in the right direction.
Just continuing to kind of play off a lot of what you've been saying. I mean, we see roster turnover every year in the NFL, obviously, but I mean, you guys have a whole lot of new guys this year on the team as a whole. And you've been a leader before, you've been a captain, you've had your breakout years. Just how different, how new does it feel with so much turnover going into this next year?
I'm kind of used to it at this point. It's my 5th year. I've had four head coaches. I've had 4 defensive coordinators. I've had 4 D-line coaches. It's a part of the game, and even when I was in college, it was the same thing. We had new D-line coaches every other year. It's the nature of the business. But at the end of the day, you show up every single day with the same attitude. I can't control any of that. That has nothing to do with me. I just got to be the best version of me and lead the guys by example every day. And no matter who we have in the building, there's a reason why Davante's here, why I'm here, why Hunter Renfrow, why Josh Jacobs. Those guys, like, they're foundational guys, and we show up to work and people follow, and that's really what we're just trying to do, is have everybody on that same page so we can go out and finish and play at our best.
Next along those.
The best edge defender in the NFL. What are some things that you need to improve on this year that you can always work on from last year?
There's a ton. I feel like you said, like, my goal is to be the best. That's why I show up here. I want to be the best at what I do and win. And I have a ton to work on. There's always something to work on, as far as pass rush and the run game. I'm not going to say, exact examples, but I could get better in every single way. And I work on that every single day, all year round. It's looking for that 1%. I'm looking for that every single day. How can I get better in my routine? How can I get better in my nutrition? How can I get better in my pass rush, my counters, stopping the run? I don't leave a box unchecked. So I'm constantly seeking to get better every single day, and I'm going to keep pushing until the undisputed. That's the goal every day.
Next, along the lines of continuity, I think I counted that there's 7 players, 27 or under, that are under contract for kind of the foreseeable future. That's not always been the case here. How important do you think? And obviously, guys got to earn their keep and all that. But if they do, building a foundation of young players that could be here together for a little while.
Yeah, that's obviously with Josh, coming in, and Dave, like, every coach has their vision of what they want to do with an organization. Some people aren't going to agree with it, some people are, and you just got to own what you do, and that's really all it takes. You know, all the outside noise doesn't mean anything. It's all about results, and winning and losing. That's all people care about. And you know, Josh and Dave are on the same page. They have a vision of what they want, and they're doing that, and they're sticking to it, no matter what anybody says. And you know, being on this team, being a captain, being a leader, you know, I'm bought into that. And no matter if it hurts people's feelings, no matter if certain people don't like it, like that's just, it is what it is. We don't care. We show up, we work. We're the ones putting in the work, and we're the ones that got to go out there and, you know, produce. So we all got to be on the same page. And, you know, if half the people aren't and half are, then you're not going to win. As simple as that. So if we get everybody, you know, on the same board, you know, we're going to have a better chance.
Max, when I think when we spoke at the Pro Bowl, you were kind of already fighting the urge to be back in the gym every single day and working out every day and trying to find that balance of getting some rest while, you know, trying to go back to work. Did you find that? Were you able to kind of find that balance this offseason?
You know, it's funny. People talk about you need balance in life. I truly just don't believe in that. That's just not where I'm at in life right now. My daughter and, you know, football that's my life, and obviously my wife and my family, and that's huge. But like, I'm on a mission. I got one goal. I want to be the best at what I do. I got many big goals I'm trying to achieve, and it takes more than being 50% in. It takes all of my attention all year round. So everybody in my circle, which is a very small circle, they know what my mission is, and they understand what I go through. I'm gone at 5 a.m. I get back at 7 p.m. So it's like, it's nonstop, but that's what it takes to be great, and that's what I'm doing every single day. So there's no real balance. At the end of the day, I'm on a mission until I stop playing football, and you know, all the other stuff, I'm gonna do my absolute best to be, you know, the best version of myself. But yeah, it's a constant mission every single day, no matter what it takes and what sacrifice that, you know, happens to be. So.
So most importantly, Max, who impressed you last night the most?
The big Hawaiian dude knocked the 500-pounder. That dude's a demon. I don't want to see. Yeah, I would never step in there with that guy. No chance.